All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning, good evening, whatever it is from wherever you're watching us from today. Welcome to another market review session with us here at DFX Academy. And I believe, our last week was extremely profitable. All right. And shortly, we'll just be looking at some commodities together, not too many. All right, but we'll be looking at some commodities together to just sort of have, as usual, sort of overview of what we expect from different guys during the course of the week. And first off, you see on my screen here we have gold. This is let me go to the daily time frame or 4 hour time frame preferably. So last week I remember talking about this on gold. We're expecting buys from here. We had multiple beautiful entries for the buys on gold. We had one around here. We had a second one which was a bit deeper, right, for the push to on gold. And you've seen that currently on gold we've had a very prominent push, all right, on gold. Now personally I believe that gold might get to give us a new all-time high very soon. All right, but that's just based off of speculation, and especially with the current bullish nature or current bullishness that we are seeing on this guy at the moment, right? So what exactly then do we or should we be expecting from gold this week? Now I'm sure you know that in every single move that happens in the market, there are two major things that categorize or that push that move, so to speak. So in every, whether it's a bullish move or a bearish move, you have the impulse and then you have the retracement. Now what that means for us as traders is that after every impulse we expect for price to give us a sort of retracement. All right, and of course you know that the impulse is always longer than the retracement. Right now for us, from what I can see right here on gold, right, let me quickly cross check something on the daily time frame first. Here, yeah, I believe that we should be getting to see a retracement very soon. All right, now overall, like I said, my speculation is still that I expect price to break give us an all-time high very soon. Price is still quite far away from there. It's still quite far away from set all-time high. But all the same, let's see what exactly, because that's something that price can cover in a week anyway. All right, but let's see how exactly we can capitalize on this current move this week. So I'm just going to be quickly marking out some areas. I think maybe without using that tool, we currently have, or I may currently be suspecting this region here. Just give me a minute. I need to relocate this tool here. Just put it here for the meantime. Right, so we have this region here, which is what we was previously in an order block in that region. I've gotten to see that price has broken, above it right now. Our price is still in the process of breaking above it, but already we've seen a candle above that region right now. So I expect for price to give us a retracement basically very soon. Now I can't say for how I can't necessarily point out how far I'm expecting that retracement to end, but definitely on this guy, we would have this region being our first POI. All right. And then very much tempted to mark out the second region under it, but just give me a minute. So we're going to mark out a few of them, and then we're going to watch out for. We're going to sort of do an elimination. All right, to sort of have an idea of which ones are the most probable right now. Which ones are the most probable right now? So for me, this was the last eye that was taken out by price. All right, and if we're looking at things, maybe I should go back to the daily time frame. Okay, yeah, so we're still on track on the daily time frame. So let's see that on the 4 hour time frame once more. What we're trying to do right now basically is just to sort of get an understanding of where we can watch out for price to give us buys from our basically demand zones for us to get in for the buys. So let me mark out this high here. Well, let me mark out this other block also here. I'm just going to mark it. I'm basically just marking out things I can see on the screen first. All right, then we'll sort of do an elimination to find out which ones should be the most probable. So straight off the bat, this last one or this previous one here is a valid demand region that price didn't get to tap into. All right, and I'm tempted to want to pick it because it is still much deeper. Right now. So I believe from what I can see right now, let's see, we're going to obviously price has swept this eye here already, which is this point here. Price has swept that eye, so I expect that the retracement should begin soon enough, right? Sooner than later. So expect price to maybe give us a little bit push more towards the upside. We have a drop into this range and then something towards this end. So it's sort of sell to buy, scenarios what I'm expecting on gold, but we still need to see that retracement basically. So I'm expecting price to sell, giving us that retracement, and then we can get good re-entries for the buys from somewhere around here. Current demand region that we're looking out for buys is between 3361.32 and 3345.52. But all the same, like I said, we've seen a sweep above this eye. This is around sweep above around 3394.90 or so on. So I'm expecting that retracement very soon, and then we can look out for beautiful buy entries. But like I said, or like we usually say, these are basically swing ideas or swing, perspective look, so to speak. This is a swing perspective rather. So that basically is what we're working with right now from the 4-hour time frame. So for gold right now, we're expecting possibly a little bit more of a buy, all right, for price to take up liquidity from that high as well as it can. Then we get to see the retracement for the sales and then the buy continuation. So just like that, that basically is what I'm expecting right now on gold. Next up, we'll be looking at AUD card, and I think AUD card. For AUD card, I already have a region I marked out earlier, but let's look at something together. Should we go to the daily time frame? No, we can still work with this. All right, so let's look at this together right now on AUD card. We have need to read. All right, great. So we have this region right now, which I'm looking at as a possible supply. All right. So we've had this low being taken out. We've had this low also being taken out. Right. So let's see it on the 2-hour time frame. I think I'm still going to watch out for this right now, because also we have liquidity sitting just above here. Right. So I'm expecting a buy to sell sort of scenario. I am tempted by all means. I'm tempted to want to mark out this region, but one of the things I have learned is to be cautious when things look a bit too obvious. All right, so I guess this is one of those cases where I believe that this zone feels too obvious from my perspective at the moment. So basically, what I'm saying is I'm watching out for a buy to sell scenario on this guy. What that means is for me, I will currently just watch out for something towards this end. This will be our inducement to get price to give us the sales. So this basically is my current bias of AUD card supply region between 0.8942 and 0.89787. Sorry, supply region between 0.89942 and 0.89787. So how about this clear for AUD card? Next up, we'll quickly look at AD/USD. I don't want to take too much of our time today, right? So AD/USD, I guess we should be able to see something similar, just going based off of a fair bit of correlation, so yeah, we have something similar also again, right? So again, we've had, we've had these two guys being taken out, these two. So let's see, we've had these two right now, yeah. So we expect price to just give us a little bit push also, into here. I have an overall demand or an overall buy region around here that I'm still watching out for. But for the meantime, let's see how this plays out. All right. So my supply region for this on AD/USD is between 0.65757 and 0.65591. 0.65757 and 0.65591. So I that is clear for AUD card also. Next up, let's look at Euro AUD. Now, Euro AUD basically has been one of our very, very interesting guys over the last couple of weeks. Also, we've had from a swing perspective, we've had buys that have lasted for more than 2 weeks. This should be the third week, all right, into that buy from this region. Now, what exactly then should we expect, or what exactly then can we be expecting this week on Euro AUD? So let's look at it. Let's quickly check the daily time frame first. Overall, I'm still expecting price to come, eventually come as high as this to, take out this high, but that's still quite far away. That is still quite far away. So let's just quickly mark up things that, or some regions that we believe or that look, enticing enough. I have number one here for possible sells, right? Now, from what I can see on the 4-hour time frame, we've been bullish for a while, right? So I still believe that price should give us, that bullish move, or that bullish continuation, this week. So we have this high here that I'm expecting price to basically, break. All right, sorry, I'm expecting price to break above. Sorry, expecting price to break above this high here, Right, so let's see. Let me come to the 2 hour time frame. Can we find points of entry, or points that we can look out for, you know, or regions that we can look out for rather, to give us, more comfortable, so to speak, entries. I'm seeing one right now, but I'll prefer to not pick it. Well, let's just mark it out. Let's just mark it out. So this would be my POI one in this case for possible sales right now on Euro AED, and this will be my POI2. So this is what I'm expecting right now on Euro AED. Overall, I think I'm still going to be fairly bullish, especially looking at what I can see from the daily time frame. I still believe that price should, still sort of that zone, that initial zone that we marked out in this, like this one, should still hold out a fair bit. And in that wise, I think this should be our next target, which is between 1.80589 and 1.80015. That should be our next target for possible sales. All right, but for the meantime, this week, let's see how this zone holds up. All right, so this will be the first perspective, or this will be the first reaction I'll be expecting from the POI. Maybe I should withdraw that. Yeah. So let's expect something like, sorry, I just saw something that I think I'll prefer to work with a lot more. The price has given us a reaction from there already, but it is still looking to be quite valid for the meantime. So I think we might just see something like this. All right, and the reason why I'm saying that is basically because, like, even if I didn't delete the previous one, I was expecting us to still get a solid retracement, all right, from that region that we marked out prior. So let's see. I think in this case, we probably will still have something like that. The only difference might be that we might have, price doing something similar to what we're expecting on gold, which would be a sort of sweep of a high before we get to see the retracement happen. Right. So, in that wise, let's see something like this happen. So, once you see price basically giving us a sweep of this side, then we get a retracement, and then for the possible buys, if we're going to be joining, price will continue in that wise. For the possible buys, I would work with this support here, or this resistance here, which would then become current support. Let me quickly check something on the line chart. Right. So we have that region there. Right. So. All right, I'm sure that what I'm doing might seem a bit confusing, but you can be rest assured that we should get some good moves from there. So I think if we're going to mark out a candle for a region, we can just possibly then mark out this green. I'm sure if we go down to the 1 hour time frame, yeah, exactly. So on the 1 hour time frame, there's a very, very interesting region there. There's a very, very interesting candle formed there that should work as a demand region for us right now on Euro AED. So basically what I'm watching out for will be a re-entry for the buys on Euro AED. So I'll go back to the 4 hour time frame to show us that better. So what I'm watching out for will be a possible re-entry from this region between 1.78893 and 1.78647 for the buys. So I want to possibly see price either give us a break up above this high. Right, I want to see price give us a break above this high. This is the area I'm talking about. So this high is around just the last previous high you can possibly see on your chart. I want to see price giving us a sweep up or a break above that high, rather sweeping equity from that high. Then we should get the retracement, and then price should continue for the buys. All right, but my buy basically is from that region I called out earlier, 1.78893 and 1.78647 for the buys on Euro AED. So without taking too much of our time, I hope that's very clear. Also, next up, let's look at EJ. I think EJ was something I sort of have my eye, or is rather something I sort of have my eyes on. I've not traded EJ in quite some time. I've not necessarily I've neglected it, let it like that, right, for a bit. But I think we might still be able to see something fairly interesting right now. So EJ currently, we'll look at, oh, interesting. Actually, very, very, and very compelling. Not just even interesting, very compelling. All right, because what I can see on the daily time frame right now gets to entertain that possibly EJ might want to give us a very, very, very long bearish move. But I do not think. Nah, I don't think that we're going to get to see that happen. Well. Let's just go down to the 4 hour time frame. Let's look at that a bit better. Because right now, because I don't want to just give us swing from the daily perspective. I want us to see something that we might possibly be able to see materialize this week. So in that wise, we have this current flow that is still holding up. is looking quite strong. This is the very immediate or most immediate and most obvious order block that we have, right? So this region here. So I think for EJ in this manner or in this wise, possibly watching out for buys from here. Demand region between 171, sorry, 171.289 and 170.799. 171.289 and 170.799 will be my demand region currently on EJ. All right, especially looking at it from the 4-hour time frame perspective, seeing this as our previous break of structure as it was, then price basically coming back into the region or the move that caused that break of structure, which is in this case can be here or we should be here. And again, we have reason for price to sweep this low before dropping a little bit. So I believe that with these sort of confirmations and what I can see from just current price action, we should get to see this buy sort of play out this week on EJ. All right, but I'll just give you this as a disclaimer. I will not necessarily be holding this buy for so long. Reason being that, like I said, from what I saw just now on the daily time frame, it seems like we might be expecting a not a very long rather, but we might be expecting a substantial sell currently on EJ. But for now, this current moment, let's watch out for this buy. Right, so we'll just maybe look at two more commodities before we call it a session. Like I said, I do not want this to be such a long video. I want it to be something you can easily watch, maybe in your car or just while you're eating, or just maybe something that won't just take too much of your time. Right, so we'll look at EU, we'll look at GA, and then we'll look at GU. So that will be three rather. EU, GA, and then GU. Right, so those will be the last guys we'll watch out for. I remember last week on EU, we're bullish, right? We're expecting a buy from somewhere around this region. Price basically has broken below that, and currently we're now seeing the buys happen. Markets, nice one, we're done. EU, we're done. All right, but all the same, let's see that on the daily time frame. Okay, so all the same on EU or on USD rather in this case. So I guess we should still see a little bit of a push towards the upside. I am very tempted again to be, because this candle that we had was this from CPI? I do not remember. I don't think this was from CPI. I really do not remember. But whatever the case is, basically we might then see a sweep again of this high in this case. So something towards this end. All right. I think I said this for gold also. So something towards this end. All right. Let's see. Let's drop down to possibly 12-hour time frame. I'll see if we can find. I've seen one region that looks interesting for me on the 12-hour time frame, but let's look at it on the 1 hour. All right, so I think I'll just stick with what I can see on the 12-hour time frame for possible buys. All right, or possible buy continuations on Euro USD from here. So possible buy continuations on Euro USD from here. Right, so this is what I'm currently watching out for. My demand region is between 1.16725 and 1.16444. Right, so I'm expecting basically a simple scenario here. This eye being swept, price coming back to this region for the buys, then we get substantial buys. So if immediately you get to see price sweeping this eye, if we get to see good entries for the sales, by all means I believe that you can take them. But for now, since we've not seen current market structure at that point, we'll just relax and watch out possibly for the buy entries on EU. Right, so second to the last for tonight, or for today's session rather, we'll look at GA and GBP80. And again, this is one of the guys that I've not looked at so much in a bit, but I think that was possibly one shadow of last week. I just marked out this region. All right, from again, I think I marked it on the 4-hour time frame, this time frame, maybe even the daily. I can't remember right now, but I just marked it on. I wanted to see what exactly I expected. I was expecting price to give us a sufficient reaction for the sales from here, which I got to see. And the reason behind that is very simple. Overall, I can see this was a trend line support that has held up quite well for quite some time. And again, we now have a very valid demand region being formed as a result of the job-based job cell formation, if you can see that, right? So if we have that, or we have those two things that are not the same thing, I believe that to some extent, that to some extent we should have gotten good enough sales. Now currently, from what I can see right now on this guy, I'm going to be very cautious. Let me mark out this region first. With very cautious. I believe, all right, from what I can see, let me check on the daily time frame. Right, I believe from what I can see on the daily time frame right now that we should get to see price continuing bullish. Because if you look at overall structure, yeah, so if you look at this, we overall, if I go as a daily time frame, rather, you even see that overall this guy is bullish even on a daily time frame. So if we're looking at what we're seeing here right now, I believe that price should continue bullish. However, I'll tell you what exactly I'm watching out for in simple terms, right? So I'm going to give it to you like this. Basically, I'm going to be watching out for a break and retest, and I'm going to give you two POIs to look out for. Would it be two or would it just be one? Because preferably for what I can see here right now, this is sort of what I'm expecting from what I can see here right now. Right, so this is sort of what I'm expecting from the current market structure that I can see on GA break and retest of this region. And this is between 2.08496 and 2.07418. But this is quite a large region, especially seeing that we're looking at this from a swing perspective, right? But that basically is the region I'm expecting possible buys from after I see a sufficient break above, that region. But for what I can see currently on this guy, we might get to see a different break and retest. Or is it, sorry, is that going to be a break and retest? No. We might get to see a little bit of a drop from here. So let me just delete this so we can clarify what exactly I'm expecting right now. So I know that this is quite, a lot. So I'm going to explain my current bias or my current idea that I'm having. So basically, I'm looking out for more buys, all right, than sells off of this guy. All right, so let me confirm that. Yeah, so I'm looking out for more buys than sells on this guy. So what exactly I'm watching out for is very, very simple. I want to see first a break above this eye. So this current region that looks like as if I'm marking out a demand region, supply region, what I expect. I'm not going to be looking out for sales from there. No, I'm going to be looking out for more reasons to buy. All right, and that will be between 2.07519 and 2.07037. 2.07519 and 2.07037. That'll be the region I'll be watching out for possible buys off of. Right, for possible buys off of. So what exactly I'm expecting is very, very simple. I want to see price breaking above this region. Then the next thing I'll be watching out for again will be a retracement. So, or sorry, a retest rather. So if I get to see that retest, I'll be entering for buys from there, and then I'll be looking at possible re-entries or possible extra positions that I can add when I get to see price break above this overall region again, and then I can get in for another buy. But I hope you understand the bias or the understanding or the idea as it was that I'm trying to pass across for this trade on GBP But that basically is what I'm expecting for GBP overall. I'm still quite bullish on this guy. Finally, for tonight's session, we'll be looking at GBP USD. And GBP USD also it did quite well, and it's still doing quite well, from our bias last week or from our region last week. We're expecting buys from here. We've seen that happen quite well. We've seen that sort of hold up quite well. And again, you can see that we're seeing price breaking above this high. Right. So let's see on the 2-hour time frame. Or let me go to the day time frame first. Let's get an understanding. Do we expect this guy to still push towards the upside a bit? I think so. I believe so. All right, so that will mean that if I'm coming down to the 2-hour time frame, the 1-hour time frame, we should be looking out for regions that we might be able to pick up re-entries from. So basically what I'm expecting right now, let me just draw it up first, and then we'll mark out some sufficient regions. Something towards this end, I'm expecting a break above this region. That will just be a break of that high price, giving us a retracement, then a continuation for the buys. So let's see. Do I have to go as low as the 30 minutes time frame? I sincerely do hope not. Because alright, this already has sort of given us the breakout retest that we're expecting from this region here. And if that's given us a breakout retest, we have every reason for price to continue pushing towards the upside. I'm not going to, I don't want to, well, this is the 4-hour time frame. So this is 2-hour time frame, right? So let's see. Let me just quickly confirm. Give me, please. Let me just quickly confirm. I want to make sure that by all means we're as careful as possible so that we do not lose. Right, so that we do not lose. And even so that we do not miss out on the trade. I'll prefer us not missing out on the trade as much as I'll prefer us not losing also. So we have this two. This for me looks like a more probable region, but I'm very, very highly skeptical. You can see I had to go as low as the 30 minutes, which is fairly against my scope normally. Right, so we have this region here. So I think for GBP USD, let's just see. This is what I'm expecting. That's sort of what I'm expecting. So again, I think something similar to what we just saw on EU and gold also. We're expecting a break up of that region, which is a sweep of that high. Then we get a short retracement and then price continuing for the buys, right? So this is what I'm expecting right now on GBP USD, right? So my current demand region is between 1.34594 and 1.34449, 1.34594 and 1.34449. 444. You know, meta is a metaphor. If you're not like African or even Nigerian per se, you might not understand what I just sang. It's a tune from a jingle that I used to hear when I was younger. I do not know. I do not know what exactly it was to advertise, but yeah. But that basically is what I'm expecting. Don't mind me. That basically is what I'm expecting right now on GBP buy to sell to buy sort of scenario. But basically, I'm expecting the sales to end somewhere around here, and then we should be looking out for good re-entries of that. So that basically is what I'm where we'll be ending for today's session. Where we'll be ending today's session. Again, as always, practice proper risk management. By all means, practice proper risk management. Even if you have been having winning streaks, know that there is nothing that is stopping you from losing. And as much as possible, I would prefer, and I'm sure also you prefer not to lose money, right? So let's do well to practice proper risk management. And again, especially if you're a scalper and you're on this call, by all means, feel free to go down to lower time frames and look out for your lower time frame confirmations before taking any of these trades. And again, I'm going to expect and hope that we have a very, very, very profitable week ahead. God bless you and have a lovely week ahead, guys. Good night. Bye bye.